Today, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that troops in eastern Ukraine captured Chinese nationals fighting for Russia. It's a reminder of that war's global impact. Russia's full-scale invasion has certainly affected the thinking in Taiwan, which, like Ukraine, sees itself confronting a much larger neighbor that challenges its sovereignty. Nick Schifrin reports now on the connections between Ukraine and Taiwan as part of our series, Taiwan, Risk and Resistance. And a warning, some images in this story are disturbing.
Outside Russia's diplomatic office in Taipei, in the shadow of Taiwan's largest building, there is cross-continental solidarity.
In order to have peace, you need to prepare for war. And this is what we were trying to tell to our Taiwanese friends here.
Olena Tregub is a Ukrainian anti-corruption advocate. She says Ukraine should provide Taiwan inspiration.
No matter you have smaller army, no matter your smaller economy, no matter you have less people in your population, it doesn't matter. If people in your country are ready to resist, if they are free, if they are brave, it's impossible to take over a country.
They dress as prisoners of war to protest Russian war crimes. It's a reminder of Ukraine's horrors. The subjugated, the slaughtered, the scorched, that 37-year-old Huang Yuxiang takes as omens.
If Russia is not held accountable for its actions, China might think they can get away with it too. We can't let that happen.
Jack Yao took that personally.
Why did you volunteer to fight in Ukraine?
Simple reason, why not? Because I want to do something and I want to help. Especially we have a situation similar.
Why did it seem similar to what China could do to Taiwan?
Culture and the history, and they are all communist. The communist.
Yao was a 28-year-old businessman when he decided to join Georgian troops fighting as part of Ukraine's Foreign Legion. In Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, he saw a larger military invading a smaller neighbor and claiming historic, cultural, and linguistic ties. What Beijing could do to Taiwan. He trained to help transport equipment and weapons. Nothing prepared him for what he saw. The Russian destruction of Irpin, the Russian systematic killings of Bucha.
And what do you think when you think back to Bucha and Irpin?
I think they are animal. Only animal will do this. Probably animal will not do this. Who will do this? Evil will do this.
Another Taiwanese soldier, Jonathan Tseng, also volunteered for Ukraine. He never came home. His mother clutched her memories and a Ukrainian flag. Jack Yao says before Ukraine, Taiwanese were dreaming. The war woke them up. And the most important lesson, Taiwan must show Ukrainian determination to fight.
When a war is coming or a situation really coming, fighting back, let the people know we are not hiding and we are prepared for this for long times and we are not afraid.
Do you think Taiwan is ready to be able to defend itself?
50-50. If 2 years ago, I will tell you 0. But now I think it's 50-50. Because now people they know something's wrong.
But to get ready, Taiwan needs U.S. support.
You're gambling with World War III.
Which is why Taiwan was horrified when President Trump berated and temporarily cut off Ukraine from U.S. assistance and intelligence.
What's the lesson that Taiwan would take if the United States cut support for Ukraine?
Will be chaos and hell and the people will losing hope. But still we are fighting back, even we don't have a bullet. This is also why I go into Ukraine. If you don't want to do something first, why people help you? Simple reason. Yeah, this is our country. You must prepare to die for your country.
Today, the enemies of Ukraine and Taiwan celebrate their connection. Their partnership has, quote, no limits. From expanded military training to cultural kinship. Chinese school children sing Russia's most famous wartime hymn. But as an axis of autocracies grow closer, so too does the feeling of a shared front line across two young democracies fighting authoritarianism. That is perhaps personified in a Ukrainian restaurant in southern Taiwan named Chata, or Home, and its owner, Olga Kolish. We spoke out front on a main street.
How do Taiwanese like the Ukrainian food?
Yes, I think they enjoy it. I also explained the difference because although we have some similarities with Russian food, but we have some very authentic dishes.
The authenticity is a family affair. Those are Ukrainian dumplings made by the restaurant's chef, Kolish's Taiwanese husband, Lin Yua. Their children fluent in Mandarin and Ukrainian. And their restaurant, resistance to Russia in mouth and mind. Sunflowers, the symbol of Ukraine's resilience. Snapshots of solidarity, including aid sent from Taiwan to Ukraine. And Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's words of defiance in Mandarin.
Taiwanese people should have that courage and be brave enough to protect their country. The world is not peaceful anymore. It's not safe anymore, anywhere in the world. So that also means any big country can occupy smaller countries. So that is why I tell them all the time, you have to fight for yourself. You have to sacrifice your people, yes, because it's your home.
And Nick joins us now. Nick, another terrific report in your series. I want to return to something we mentioned at the top, though. Ukraine announcing today that they captured Chinese nationals on the front lines. What more do we know about that? How unusual is it?
So Jack Yao, who we introduced to you in the story, the young Taiwanese man who traveled to Ukraine to fight, actually told me that he came across Chinese in eastern Ukraine on the front line, and that was late 2022 when he was there. So it is not unprecedented, but it is rare. Today, President Volodymyr Zelensky posted this video you see there saying Ukraine captured these Chinese nationals' IDs and ATM cards. They speak a little English and suggest their commander was wounded or killed. And Zelensky said Ukraine has information there are, quote, many more Chinese citizens in the occupiers' units. But U.S. officials tell me, Amna, there is no evidence that Beijing is sending civilians or soldiers to the front lines. And so therefore, the assumption is that any Chinese national who ends up there is simply a soldier of fortune. But as we know, as we've talked about for years now, the U.S. has assessed that China sends machine tools, microelectronics, and other items that have propped up Russia's defense industrial base and allowed them to continue to prosecute the war in Ukraine.
All right, Nick Schifrin, thank you very much.
Thank you.